Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jolene Mujica. I am the head of trends and tours at Windowswear. And today for our Windowswear Live, we're going to be taking a look at NFTs and how they are changing the fashion and art landscapes. As always, if you have any questions or thoughts on the subject matter that we're addressing today, please feel free to join us and ask your questions, put them in the chat if you're joining us on Zoom. If you're on any of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, feel free to put your questions in there, and the Windowswear team will be able to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. So how are NFTs changing the fashion and art landscapes? Well, let's rewind a little bit and talk about what exactly an NFT is. I feel as though this is a bit of a very nuanced conversation and very new. I feel also as though there's not a sort of concrete understanding as to what an NFT and cryptocurrency is exactly. But NFT, of course, stands for non-fungible token. It is a form of cryptocurrency, blockchain, right? These are all words that we've been hearing thrown around for quite some time now, with not necessarily a totally tangible understanding of what that is, but it is moving toward being a completely legitimized form of currency for the art world and the fashion world alike. We've seen this for quite some time now. Many large conglomerates, bigger Fortune 500 companies are investing in cryptocurrency. So the retail industry is definitely starting to take shape on exactly that, right? Now, the NFT market has boomed in the last 6 months, moving from the world of art to fashion. Brands like Gucci and designers like Jeff Staple have started their own virtual products, right? But to sell NFTs, brands need a marketplace, right? And while the NFT marketplaces like OpenSea, 888 The New World, focus on art exclusively, there's a wave of this sort of fashion specific marketplaces that have begun cropping up with investments to back up their propositions, right? NFT Marketplace Mintable raised $13 million in funding this past July after partnering with fashion brands A Bathing Ape, and 3D fashion design company 3D Robe launched their own fashion specific NFT platform Nuo this past June. And it has 5 luxury brand launches planned for this year. So this is something that is moving within the world of luxury fashion, and it's just another way to create the mimicking of physical luxury goods and scalability in the digital and meta universe, right? So NFTs are, are non-fungible tokens. In just a few months, we've started to see many brands, including Gucci, Louis Vuitton, NARS Cosmetics, a slew of them sort of begin to partner up and create marketplaces that are competing to be these sort of go-to choices amongst fashion and beauty marketers, right? Gucci worked with Christie's auction house on their art film. Louis Vuitton has worked with We Knew on its NFT integrations, and NARS has partnered with Truzy, right? So we're starting to see this become a big part of the retail landscape and the vernacular with which we are exchanging goods and currency, right? How are they changing landscapes? Well, over the past few months, we've been witness to this new fad, right, with a profound impact, particularly in the fashion, in the design, and the art sectors, right? The visual and the applied arts. And in a world that's becoming very digital, right, there is very little difference, particularly for younger generations like Gen Z, between online life and offline life, right? The lines are becoming significantly blurred. This NFT gold rush, as it's becoming, is already yielding really incredible gains, right? NTFK recently sold a digital jacket for more than $125,000, and Beeple Digital Art was acquired for a stupendous amount of $69 million, right? Now, as the initial NFT hype wave starts to crest, right, brands are really exploring these different kinds of options. Burberry, for example, and Louis Vuitton sold 390 $95,000 worth of NFT, which sold out on mythical game Blanco's Block Party within a few minutes, right? Augmented reality is starting to emerge as this early winner that can serve as luxury's entry points for NFTs. And thanks to the engaging nature of an NFT and of the gaming community, right? We're seeing these real life applications start to emerge. Now, Louis Vuitton has created something called the Louis Vuitton game, and this past August, Louis Vuitton introduced a game as part of its 200th year anniversary celebration for the brand. It included branded avatars, and players could win up to 30 free NFT postcards, digital postcards, right? For Dolce & Gabbana, their Alta Moda show in Venice, they showcased a NFT collection produced in collaboration with UNXD. This was specifically a curated marketplace for digital luxury and culture. Now, 5 of the pieces, 2 of which were dresses, a men's suit, and 2 crowns, they are actual physical creations designed by Dolce & Gabbana, and they have digital versions that can be used within the metaverse. Now, 4 items are entirely bespoke virtual designs and creations exclusively, also included in the metaverse. And the hope was to sort of create a presentation and draw in an audience of the crypto community. Let's take a look at Gucci. So Gucci's NFT, they created something called Aria, which is a 3-channel video that plays on a loop. It's inspired by their Autumn/Winter 2021 collection. It sold on a Christie's online auction last spring for $20,000. This continuous loop was co-directed by Gucci's creative director and Alessandro Michele, and photographer and director Flora Sigmondi. Now, Gucci said that they speak to Aria's overarching message that this is a yearning to bloom and flourish after the shadow of winter has passed, right? In the last year, NFTs have become really the sort of it item when it comes to art and fashion and culture. Mike Winkelmann, the digital artist who is known as Beeple more popularly, really disrupted sort of the art market in March when Christie's sold his unique NFT artwork every day for the first 5,000 days for $69 million, right? This is the highest price paid at auction for a work of art by any living artist, right after Jeff Koons' Rabbit, which sold for $91 million in 2019. So not only is this big business, but it is also, astonishingly, astonishingly profitable for brands and artists alike. For Belmont, their flame dress for Vogue Singapore, they unveiled their first September issue, which of course is the most important issue in the fashion calendar. And they commissioned Belmont to create 15 NFT pieces for sale. The creative director built all of these at Belmont. And in addition to receiving the 3D rendering and the animation of the dress with an image of the dress virtually fitted on an image of them, the winning bidder also received the creative director's sketches of the dress and the ability to port the dress into the fashion gaming app Altava, which is formerly Unmateriality. So there's an element of playfulness with this, interactivity with NFTs that is affording brands a different means of communication with consumers. Now, the NFT craze has also hit the beauty industry, right? Major beauty brands are jumping on board with this, whether that's NARS, Givenchy, ELF. They've all recently launched NFTs, joining this wave of large brands and corporations such as CocaCola and Procter & Gamble, right? Shiseido, who owns NARS, has become the latest beauty brand to launch an NFT campaign. It's celebrating their Orgasm Blush collection with 3 commissioned NFT artworks by female identifying artists on the platform Truzy. And similarly, Givenchy Beauty has launched last month as part of their broader strategy for embracing new horizons digitally, right? Now, you may be asking yourself, how does a beauty brand create a piece of artwork when particularly the beauty industry is all based on tangibility, right? The art of trying things on and swatching, right? For the most part, most of these collaborations with these NFT marketplaces go toward charitable and philanthropical endeavors, right? So for example, in June, Givenchy sold 1,952 copies of their first sponsored NFT artwork in 2 seconds on their platform Vive, and it worked with digital art collective Rewind Collective. The gallery owner and LGBTQIA activist Amar Singh raised $128,000 for nonprofit advocacy organizations, right? So oftentimes, what we're seeing so far in the trend in the beauty world is that this is going toward their philanthropic endeavors until they can come out with some sort of more concrete form of NFT that would make sense for their particular product. We're also seeing this from brands like CocaCola, right? CocaCola has auctioned off their first form of NFT. More brands are sort of entering this metaverse. Coca-Cola is harnessing the sort of history of collectibles, right? Coca-Cola is a brand that is quite collectible. It's quite sought after by collectors of American history and American history, American product history. So they're jumping into sort of cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency culture. It really gave Coca-Cola an opportunity to explore this sort of robust space that the digital universe gives you. And it's a cool convergence, right? It's a form of function and aesthetic, right? So when we think of a brand like Coca-Cola, of course, immediately we think of soft drinks and hospitality products. We don't necessarily think of fashion, but Coca-Cola has its own historical museum in Atlanta, right? So they are a classic American heritage brand and are now moving into, while not traditional retail, they are still moving into retail in the NFT sort of sensorial sense. Now, something that makes complete sense when I think of cryptocurrency, particularly when I think of NFT sort of tokens, or when I think of collectible things, instantly my mind goes to the sports industry, right? Particularly Major League Baseball and baseball cards, right? This is something that, the trade of cards as a culture dates back actually to Nintendo hundreds of years ago. While we think of Nintendo as a modern day gaming industry that has been around since we assume the 80s, Nintendo's actually been around for many hundreds of years and started as a card trading company, right? So this is a culture that stands the test of time. For Major League Baseball, right, expanding into this sort of booming NFT market makes complete sense. When you think of the trading of cards and card culture, things in spaces like Comic-Con and different sort of venues in which you can trade, comic books, baseball cards, Pokemon cards, whatever that is, right? Virtual versions and variations of this makes complete sense and is really easy and malleable, right? From trading cards to autographed baseballs. Baseball fans have, of course, demonstrated their passion for sports and their players through collectibles for decades, right? Now, in working with Candy Digital, the Major League Baseball Association has offered NFTs to MLB fans, and they're delivering this sort of exciting new addition to the robust baseball collectible market. And physical cards can go for millions of dollars. They can sell, very limited edition, very mint condition baseball cards can sell for millions of dollars. And so the idea of being able to scale that up virtually with NFT is something that Major League Baseball and many in the sports arena are looking to do as well. Now, streetwear and NFTs are also a fantastic match if you know anything about sneaker culture, right? If you have a sneakerhead in your family or in your community, right? They're very passionate about collectibles and about limited edition drops. And the arrival of NFTs in the fashion realm, it seemed pretty inevitable, but the idea of NFT culture in sneaker world and in sort of sneaker culture and streetwear culture is probably the most seamless, more so than the luxury market, right? they've really sort of implanted this firm grip on this collective imagination of art, of music, of film. All of these things kind of converge in the streetwear market, particularly in the American market, which is known for its point of view on streetwear. But we're starting to see earlier this year, NTFKT, which is a digital creative studio, jumped into the spotlight in March by selling the equivalent of $3.1 million in a single collection of NFT sneakers. Now, they worked on a set of NFTs with streetwear icon Jeff Staple, who was the founder of the Staple brand and the creative agency Reed Art Department. Now, they generally look like sort of high-tech Nike Air Force Ones, pulled straight from a video game, and several are now being traded in their NFT forms upwards of $40,000. So very exciting. DKNY's logo has gotten an NFT makeover in just this past month or last month in September. DKNY introduced their new logo as a non-fungible token, which it auctioned to benefit the American Nurses Foundation. And Karl Lagerfeld has been immortalized, of course, the beloved creative director of Chanel and Fendi for decades, right? Karl Lagerfeld, who is not only this imposing personal figure, but also this style icon, now has an NFT to match. What is really fun about that is for a personality, an archetype like Karl Lagerfeld, it seems like a perfect fit, right? If you were going to create something for a celebrity that is larger than life, particularly posthumously after the person has passed away, this is a great time for people who collect tokens of Chanel or collect, archival pieces of Fendi to jump in on the cryptocurrency craze with their own Karl Lagerfeld figurine. And then finally, we have interpretations from Levi's celebrating 501 Day, right? They have partnered with Naomi Osaka, very famous tennis champion, of course, to exclusively create NFT 501 original trading cards. The drop is happening soon, and they are one of a kind. They're having a one of a kind auction starting at $501 for, of course, the original 501 original collection that Levi's is known for. So we are beginning to see, again, the landscape shift in terms of the way that we think of brands representing physical products, moving into the digital realm and giving consumers a new brand experience. So it's very exciting to see where this will all go next. I'm going to go ahead and hand off the reins now to the Windowswear team. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to ask, put them in the chat or on any of our Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn lives that we are currently streaming on. And always know that all of this information is available on windowswear.com on our Trends channel. Thank you so much for joining.
Hello, everybody. My name is Raul Tovar, co-founder and creative director of Windowswear, and I'm joined by Nicole Simi, senior creative manager of Windowswear. So if somebody has a question on this topic, if somebody has an experience with NFT, any comment that you guys want to share with the audience, we'll be happy to respond or listen to it. As Jolene said, this PDF trend report, this trend report can be found as a PDF in the Trends channel on Windowswear. For everybody who wants to review it again or have the actual document to go over it, it includes all the images and the text that Jolene shared with us. So if somebody wants to see it again and save it, you can find it. You can find it in the channels. Part of Windowswear in the Trends channel. I'll allow a few more minutes if somebody has a question. Okay, Federica Mari is asking, what do you think is the most successful of these projects and why? Well, I feel like that's a bit subjective, but in my particular opinion, I was very impressed by the Louis Vuitton one because they released this in August when Louis Vuitton himself turned 200 years. So it was like his birthday, and these NFTs were just one of the many celebrations that they did for this. So in my opinion, this was the most clever one because it was a game where you could collect them and save them. And so I think this one. But if you also look through on another side, it's also like the Gucci one that was sold for like $20,000 at Christie's. So, I never thought that somebody would pay that much money for something that they can actually touch. Uh, so I think that's also I want to remember. And I think it's just a matter of like what is the angle that they give the audience, and what the people that collaborate with, for example, for Gucci to be collaborating with Christie's, which is like a major house. Christie's has already all the system and the infrastructure and the like, just the kind of like the know-how to auction anything. So for Gucci to partner with them, I think it was super smart in that sense. So I think each one of them has kind of like one or two um, um, things that makes them like super special and super different between them. You're welcome, Federica. Um, does anybody else have a question or a comment or something that you guys want to share? What I love is that also not only fashion brands are playing with NFTs, but Coca-Cola and Nintendo and all these major brands, not necessarily about fashion, but brands who have a following, brands who have like a cult, and people that is loyal customers. They're also playing with this thing. In my personal opinion, I'll be interested to see if they can stay. If they can stay, I feel like NFTs is kind of like a concept that came out like last year, like on the spot and the spotlight, and it was like super quick to get high. So I am wondering to see if it's gonna continue, or if it was just a trend. Um, Alex J is still can't grab my head around this. No problem, Alex. We're all in the same boat. I think it's just a matter of like seeing more examples coming and analyzing them in order to understand. But don't you worry, we feel you. What do you think motivates a brand to carry out a project related to NFT and blockchain? And do you think that most of the importance of this project is the partnership? Well, I think brands don't want to be old fashioned, or they don't want to miss the train, in my opinion. That's what I think brands will join TikTok or Instagram or any social media aspect of it. So I think brands, they want to innovate, and they know that they have to innovate. They don't want it. They feel the need to relate to the Gen Z as well. And Gen Z is very clever to manage and to play with all these things, basically with everything that is new. So in my opinion, I feel like it's just kind of like the fact of them not missing the boat is the most important thing. And you think that most important of this project is the partnership? I will say partnership is important, but I also will say branding and heritage. People owning some part of like the Gucci legacy or like the Louis Vuitton legacy. It makes people excited. It creates some kind of like fandom, and people collect things, and these brands love these loyal customers. So I think the partnership is a smart way to do it. But I think in the long run is just to keep relating to the loyal customers what makes this um, successful or interesting or exciting for a brand. Nicole, if you feel like,
Yes, can I add to that?
of
I was going to
course, you can
say,
add whatever you want. Tell us.
I think that a lot of brands really love the drop culture. A lot of consumers are very into that. So take Supreme, for example, when they were in the early days, dropping new products every week, and that would create a lot of hype. And each item was very unique that week until it sold out. So I feel like a lot of these brands are trying to follow that format of the drop and personal things and things that people can get access to that not many people will have until it runs out. And so, take for example, Burberry's game that they came out with, they were giving these like,
Outfits.
yeah, and that sold out in minutes because people love like really personal things to have.
Yeah.
And
Or
I think
the
that's why a lot of brands are trying to take this opportunity because they can follow that format.
Yeah. Or the, well, I guess, remember, Nicole, the $13 Gucci sneakers that they were not necessarily kind of like an NFT, but they were kind of like a virtual sneaker that people could buy for like $13, I think last year. And they sold, I don't remember the name, maybe you remember the number, but they sold also like a ridiculous amount of this, of something that people cannot even touch. So I guess Gucci was kind of like a little bit ahead of the time. Selling these kind of like AI VR objects that now can be seen as NFTs because not many people have them.
Yeah, and even the Belmont collaboration with Vogue, they were Belmont was offering something very personal where they were editing the what was it, the sketch to the person's image of them, whoever won the auction. So they make it very personal and like one of a kind, which obviously people love. So
Yeah, great addings. Cynthia Sue is asking us, hello, I guess it's a tough question here, but how can brands address the environmental issue caused by NFT trading while catching the trend? Cynthia, we love tough questions.
that is a tough question. I
That is
wish
a tough
I
question. Yeah.
know more about that in depth, but it's just there's so many brands out there that have like participated in this, and I think that the NFTs is still something that's so new and complex.
That's what I was saying, Nicole, that I'm interested to see if it's really gonna come, if it really came to stay, or if it's like just gonna die down as many other things that we have seen in the fashion industry, for example.
Well, so far so good because I think Dolce and Gabbana just like merged their couture with NFT and they made so much money. I think they made actually a record um, with that new partnership.
That's
So
correct.
I feel like it's going to be around for a while.
Do you or anyone else have any thoughts on this question that Cynthia Sue asked? How can brands address the environmental issue caused by NFT while catching the trend? We'll be happy to hear more answers. And if not, Cynthia, we'll make sure to do some more research and send you an email with that. Federica Mari says, Gucci with Aria tried to balance its environmental footprint by donating part of the auction to charity. Okay, I guess that's a very good solution and answer. I didn't know this actually. Does somebody else have another question and any other thought on this topic about how NFTs are changing the fashion and art landscape? We'll be happy to hear. You're welcome, Cynthia. I hope this was a good answer, but if not, we owe you one. I promise we're gonna do some research on it. Does anybody else have a question? This was a very good information for everybody. And we're probably gonna have a part 2 of this trend report, like maybe in a few months, because as Nicole said, all the brands are participating. They're partnering with like so many people, with like gaming makers, with celebrities, with other brands, with media brands. So I feel like this is just only the beginning of this trend. So probably in 6 months from now, we're gonna have another trend report about this and how this is evolving. Okay, if there's no more to see, thank you so much for joining, everybody. Again, you can find this trend report in the trends channel in Windows Wear. We hope you have an account, and if not, you can create an account and find all these and more trend reports in the trends channel. Every month we do one of these trend reports with something that we spot in the happening in the industry, whether it's about a color, whether it's about a aesthetic, something with technology, anything that we see that the industry is like loving and moving towards to, we love to do a trend report. So you can find one new trend report every month in the trends channel on Windows Wear. Nicole, if you don't have anything else, I think I'm gonna wrap it up.
No, I think we've covered everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole, for this amazing trend report, and see you guys in the next one. Ciao.
Bye.